Welcome to the Whurthy Services training video series. This is Module 5, Advanced Whurthy Setup. In this fourth video, we're going to walk through Support Your Customers. We're going to start by looking at the Whurthy Support feature within Whurthy Services. We're going to see how customers can ask a question and how you can then answer their questions, and we'll look at the various steps. Whurthy Support is a way for your customers to communicate with you and for you to communicate with us. In this video, we're going to start by looking at a hypothetical situation where a customer is reaching out to ask you a question about the services you offer. Obviously, there could be all sorts of different permutations or situations and scenarios where customers may have questions for you. Obviously, they may email you, they may phone you, but this is a feature that we have in place within Whurthy Services, and we wanted you to be aware that this is an option that customers have. In the next video, we're going to be looking in much more detail at how you can use Whurthy Support to ask us questions or offer us suggestions about Whurthy Services and improving them. So there may be selections or options that I won't fully dive into in this video, but don't worry if you've got any questions. I fully anticipate they'll all be answered by the time you've walked through both of these videos. And really, ultimately, the goal is that together we can use Whurthy Support to improve everyone's experience with Whurthy Services. So now I'm going to start off in the customer experience. If we go to the hamburger in the top right, we get the support link that takes them to their support dashboard. And by the way, you will have the same experience as one of our customers asking us a question about Whurthy Services. So I'm going to go ahead and click on New Support Request button here. Now we've got the question category field to kick things off. We're going to just select question in this particular situation. We'll look in more detail at the other two selections tomorrow. And under priority, we're just going to go ahead and select no impact query only. So those would be the most likely selections for category and priority that a customer would enter when it comes to asking you a question. In the next field here, we can see that we've got the question field. So I'm just going to go ahead and have them ask, can you tell me more about the services you offer? And if they wanted to add more detail, they can use this optional detailed question description field. But that'll do for this example. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Create Support Request button. And so now we can see the success flash message. We can see there they've got one support request currently open, and here's the request. I'm going to go ahead and click on the link here. Can you tell me more? And that takes them into their support request. We can also see the support progress. And of particular importance, this update my request button. I'm going to go and click on this from the customer's perspective. Now, there's an opportunity for the customer in request status to select keep open or end request. Now, this might be useful if they had asked the question and then gone and done some research and found the answer on their own. And when we look at this in greater detail in the next video, you may have a very similar situation as well. But I'm just going to leave this as keep open because I want to actually show you when the customer enters additional comments, how it looks. So I also wanted to know about. So they can enter whatever. I'm now going to click on update my requests. And with that done, I'm going to jump over to the staff experience. So as is always the case with the staff experience, Whurthy Services has someone on your team. Maybe it's you, maybe if you're a larger team, it's someone else who is assigned to receive the notifications that these support requests have been entered. So I can see that I've got a link that says, please visit Whurthy to review the request. So when I click on this, it's going to take me straight in to the request ticket. If I look at the Whurthy sidebar on the right-hand side, scroll down to the bottom in the administration section, I can get to all support requests through the support dashboard link. But in that case, I'm just going to focus on clicking the link in the email. And also, if you as a customer submit a question to the Whurthy team, we'll be looking at this tomorrow, you get to see the My Support requests here. So this is a little bit different when you are functioning in effect of a customer as a customer of us. So I'm going to look here. I can see the instructions here. We can see of note, review the user's comments. It is possible that they may elect to close the request. If they do so, the request will be changed to for request resolved. So if I had marked end request in that previous step of entering additional comments, it would have resolved the ticket, right? But they haven't done that. Now I get the request information card. So when it was created, I get to see the customer. And that's a link to their profile. So if I click on this, I get to scroll down, see their active bookings, see their loyalty, see how many appointments they've booked, how many cancellations they've had, how many they've paid for, what their revenue is, all that sort of good stuff. And at the bottom, I get to see the support request, which is a circular way of bringing me back to the support request. So this just being designed that way to make it super convenient when you're receiving questions from customers, and you may have tens or hundreds or even thousands, particularly for larger organizations. This allows you to effortlessly connect with the context, the loyalty, and the value of the customer when they're bringing forward questions. And so when I scroll down here, I can see here's the question they entered, their category. They obviously marked it as keep open. And then this is the additional comment that they entered. So this is actually tracking that conversation, as it were, and the resolution. And there's none because we haven't actually looked at it as staff yet. I can see at the bottom the support log. This is going to grow. We will return to this at the end of this video, but we can see that it was not only entered, but there are also additional comments. There was the original creation and there were additional comments. So I'm going to go ahead and click on update request here. So now at the top, I can see the support request card with a checkbox to show request details. So the idea is that if this is a simple question, you've already read it, you're coming down to answer it, no problem. But if it's a complicated question, you might want to check on the show request details here. And that would just allow that information as you're writing and responding and researching perhaps more complicated questions that demand more research and effort to answer, or more brain power. You have access to all of the questions and the additional comments that you've entered. So I'm going to go ahead and close that to save the real estate. Typically, a customer is going to enter a question. If they entered, say, a question that actually became a suggestion for you to offer a new service, then you might change that to suggestion. But again, we're going to look at this in more detail in the next video. Here under active responder, by default, Whurthy Services selected the person you had marked as responsible to respond to these Whurthy Services support requests. This is the opportunity where, for example, if there was a question about a service and perhaps you had a receptionist, they could assign it to a service provider who could provide the answer, or you could pass this from one service provider to another. It's really up to you. So any account anyone who has a staff account is going to show in this field here. Now, these two fields, these are I suppose the real meat and potatoes of what's happening here. So in the support activity field, this is like your notepad. So we're using this field to really sort of track our research, keep our notes. So this is a very useful field if I am researching and need to step away. So if I don't enter anything in the answer field and I just have something in the support and I go and update the request, it's just going to save it like a draft, right? So I may come to it back to it at the end of the day, found A, and then found B, whatever it may be. And then when I'm ready, I can come and just fill in an answer. And then when I think I'm ready, we're going to look at the status field in more detail on the next video, in particular statuses 2 and 3. But in this case, you've got the option most realistically of either marking as resolved or answered. And again, we will take the very same approach with you as our customer of Whurthy Services. So when a customer asks you a question and you want to make sure that they feel you've answered their question, then you would mark request resolved. If it was a very simple question and it was a very obvious answer and you're really clear, you can jump straight to question answered. I'm going to go ahead and click on request resolved here. You have the option of entering in how many hours of effort you took. This is totally up to you. Again, we'll look at effort and the different tiers in the next video, but let's just pretend we took 1 hour. So we'd throw in a 1 there because we're entering in hours. And I'm going to go ahead and click on update request. So now what it's going to do is it's going to notify the customer that they've received a response to their question. So let's jump over to the customer experience. So now we can see I've jumped over to the customer's email. So at this point, this is letting them know that it's being marked as resolved by us, the service provider. This means that our team believes we have found a resolution to your question and are inviting you to verify that your question has indeed been resolved. So then they can click on the support dashboard to go and let you know. And we're noting in here, if everything is indeed resolved, please update the request status to end request. So this is just an intentionally designed step to ensure that there's real active communication between those involved in the request communication and exchange. And again, it's optional. We could have jumped straight to question answered, but it's just that extra little bit of due diligence, as it were. So let's jump over to the customer experience. So now we've come back over to the customer's support dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the link here. And so now we can see towards the bottom here is the answer that I put in. I'm going to go ahead and click on the update my request. And now, as we asked them in the email, now we can go ahead and click on request status. And we can enter in any additional comments. That makes sense. I will go ahead and book, and they could just let you know. Or if they weren't certain, they could keep it open, and then they would provide additional comments, and you can engage in that effort just to make sure that they're absolutely clear and they really received the answer that they were looking for, and that they really understand what it is you've been conveying to them. But I'm going to go ahead and update the request. And now we'll take a look at the staff experience. So over in the staff's email inbox that was assigned to respond, we can see here that it's been marked as resolved. So when I come into the support dashboard, I'm going to click on the link again, and I can scroll down here, and now I can see that the customer request status is green. The background row is green. It's marked as end request, and it's the Whurthy Services is letting us know that it's marked as end request by the user. We can see the answer. Everything's looking good. So I'm now going to go and update the request. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to select on question answered instead, and then I will click the update request button. And now the support request has moved from the active requests page. If I look over on the right-hand side here, there is one answered request. So now we can see we've got the ticket in this sort of like answered status, parked away. But there's one more thing to show you, because we've got this survey response here. So the customer's actually been surveyed. So let's go and have a look at that. And so now over in the customer's email inbox, we can see they're getting an email letting them know it's been answered. They can review the answer. Now, in this scenario, they already had let us know it was good in the resolution stage. If you had jumped straight to the question answered stage, then obviously they would spend some time looking at the answer, and they might open another ticket, which of course is a good reason why we have that resolved status, as it works. It helps prevent multiple requests on the same item being created. And the overall design intention is to allow the customer to feel supported. Our personal experience with support features like this in web applications is they tend to feel a little bit rushed. And with more emphasis, as we were walking through in that next video, we really want to convey to you how this active listening design intention is really important to us with the Whurthy team. And so when we're dealing with you in the next video, when we're sort of working through, this will be very important to us. But in this case, we can see here, they can review the answer, but also we'd be grateful if you could take a few moments to complete a brief support survey to let us know how we did and to make sure everything has indeed been resolved. So I'm going to jump finally over to the customer's perspective. And so now I'm going to go back inside the customer's experience. I'm going to click on the Whurthy Services link at the top. And now we can see that there is this message. Now that your support request has been answered, it would really help our improvement efforts if you could complete a satisfaction survey and then support survey. Can you tell me more about the services you offer? So that is driven from the question they asked, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click on that link. So that's taking me into it, showing here's the background, here's the question they answered, here's the answer that they got. So this is just providing them the context in their survey. But the two fields that really matter here, there's only two fields: response satisfaction, which is thumbs up, neutral, thumbs down. If they select neutral or thumbs down, it's going to require them to enter in some comments just to give us some extra context. But I'm going to go ahead and click on thumbs up. I'm going to submit the survey response because it was great. That message has gone away. They've got a message thanking them for completing our support survey. And for the very final step, we'll just take a look at how that closes out in the staff's experience support dashboard. And so now returning to the support dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and just refresh this page. And so now we can see the survey responses thumbs up. If it had entered a comment, response comment, it would appear here as well. So hopefully that really provides you with a sense of what Whurthy Support is in the Whurthy Services context and how it's really been designed to empower a meaningful, active conversation where necessary between your customers and you, and also to allow that building of rapport. And certainly it's not intended to replace the personal touch or a telephone call or an email, but the reality is that the customer is going to see this support button in the top right of their screen, and it's going to be a way for them, whilst they're in Whurthy Services looking to book services, if they have any questions, they're going to have that effortless way to be able to reach out to you, and you'll have an effortless way, in effect, to be able to have a communication with them. At any point in that scenario, we could have said, hey, could you share your number, and you could have asked for their phone number and you could have phoned them. So the possibilities are endless, but really this is just designed to be a meaningful support tool for you. In the next video, we're going to take a deeper dive into how Whurthy Support can work for you and help you in having the best possible experience with Whurthy. Value made easy.